History of English Literature, New Classical Age, 1700 to 1750. Part A, Episode 2. Brief questions with answers. Question 49. What is Robinson Crusoe? Answer. Robinson Crusoe is an English classic written by Daniel Defoe. Sometimes it is claimed as the first English novel. It is written in a simple and vigorous style. Question 50. What are the literary works of Defoe? Answer. Robinson Crusoe, Captain Singleton, Captain George Carleton, Marl Flanders, Colonel Jack and Roxana are the literary works of Defoe. But only Robinson Crusoe attains the success of popularity. Question 51. Who is Dr. Johnson? Answer. Dr. Samuel Johnson is a formidable name in English literature. He was a great literary personality with his valuable presence as a critic, essayist, journalist, editor, and poet. He was called the literary dictator of the New Classical Age. Question 52. What are the literary works of Dr. Johnson? Answer. Johnson's literary achievements, though quite voluminous, are, of course, not highly commentable. His literary works are the Dictionary, The Lives of the Poets, Preface to Shakespeare, London, Vanity of Human Wishes, The Rambler, The Idler, etc. Question 53. Who is Richardson? Answer. Samuel Richardson is regarded as the first English novelist. He produced his first novel, Pamela, in 1741. His other novels are Clarissa Harlowe and Sir Charles Grandison. Question 54. What is Pamela? Answer. Pamela is the first English novel. It was written by Richardson in 1741. It was written in the form of letters, and that was the beginning of the actual novel writing in English literature. Question 55. What is Clarissa Harlowe? Answer. Clarissa Harlowe is the second novel of Samuel Richardson. The novel shows the suffering of a good woman as a victim of a false man's seduction. This novel illustrates Richardson's sympathy for women. Question 56. What is Sir Charles Grandison? Answer. Sir Charles Grandison is the third novel of Richardson. It is the story of a man's love with two women and is presented with a moral effect. It shows also the triumph of womanly virtues over men's loose morals. Question 57. What is the Dictionary of the English Language, 1747 to 1755? Answer. The Dictionary 1747 to 1755 was composed by Samuel Johnson. It marks an epoch in the history of English. The dictionary filled the nation with pride in its language. It is a movement of labor and scholarship. Question 58. What is the Lives of the Poets? Answer. The Lives of the Poets is the popular work of Dr. Samuel Johnson. It shows him at his best as a critic of literature. It shows both the strengths and weaknesses of Johnson as the critic of poetry. Question 59. What is Rasselas, Prince of Abyssinia? Answer. Rasselas, Prince of Abyssinia is a novel written by Dr. Samuel Johnson. The prose style here is heavy, rhetorical in structure, full of affection, and highly Latinized. It is hardly a novel at all. The tale carries little interest. The characters are rudimentary, and here there are many long, dull discussions. Question 60. What is the Vanity of Human Wishes? Answer. The Vanity of Human Wishes is the only long-wish poem of Dr. Johnson. The poem is written in imitation of the 10th satire of Juvenal. Question 61. What is the first poem written by Dr. Johnson? Answer. London was the first poem written by Dr. Johnson in 1738 in heroic couplet. It depicts the vanity and scenes of city life viewed from the depressing standpoint of an embittered and poor poet. Question 62. What is the Rambler? Answer. Dr. Johnson wrote periodical essays in the Rambler. The essays, which appeared twice a week, are full of deep thought and observation and are founded upon his own experience of life. Question 63. What is the Idler? Answer. During the period 1758 to 60, Dr. Johnson was contributing a series of papers under the title of the Idler to the Universal Chronicle or Weekly Gazette. They were lighter in touch and shorter than those of the Rambler. Question 64. Who is called the father of English novel? Answer. Henry Fielding, 1707 to 1754, is called the father of English novel. He is called so because he imparted to the novel the dignity and attraction of pure literature. He is the first theorist of the English novel. Question 65. What are the novels written by Fielding? Answer. The notable novels of Henry Fielding include the history of adventures of Joseph Andrews and his friend Mr. Abraham Adams, the history of the life of the late Mr. Jonathan Wild the Great, the history of Tom Jones, a foundling, and Amelia. Question 66. What is Joseph Andrews? Answer. Joseph Andrews is a novel written by Henry Fielding and was published in 1742. It is a comic epic poem in prose written in imitation of Cervantes, the celebrated Spanish author of Don Quixote. Question 67. What is Tom Jones? Answer. Tom Jones is the greatest novel of Henry Fielding. It is the most complete and perfect of his novels. It is a comic epic poem in prose. Question 68. What is Jonathan Wild? Answer. Jonathan Wild is the biography of the famous thief and highwayman who was hanged at Newgate. It is a novel written by Henry Fielding. Question 69. What is Amelia? Answer. Amelia is the last novel written by Henry Fielding. This novel, though possessing power and interest, lacks the spontaneity of its predecessors. Question 70. Who is Tobias Smollett? Answer. Tobias Smollett is one of the remarkable novelists of the 18th century. He is known for three novels in particular: The Adventures of Roderick Random, The Adventures of Peregrine Pickle, and Humphrey Clinker. Question 71. What is Roderick Random? Answer. Roderick Random is the most popular novel of Tobias Smollett. It contains much of his own life and experiences. It is in fact an outline of his own life, but packed with numerous invented incidents and episodes. Question 72. What is Peregrine Pickle? Answer. Peregrine Pickle is a novel written by Tobias Smollett. It is a story told in the third person, a picaresque novel dealing with sailors and their conduct and activities. Question 73. What is Humphrey Clinker? Answer. Humphrey Clinker is a novel written by Tobias Smollett. It is an epistolary novel written in the pattern of Richardson's Pamela. Question 74. What is The Adventures of Ferdinand, Count Fathom? Answer. The Adventures of Ferdinand, Count Fathom is a novel written by Tobias Smollett. It presents the story of a reckless scoundrel cruel and egoistic. It is almost in the pattern of Fielding's Jonathan Wild the Great. Question 75. What is the adventure? What is the adventure of Lancelot Grievous? Answer: The Adventures of Lancelot Grievous is a novel by Tobias Smollett. It is an attempt to imitate Cervantes and to produce a mocking impact of Don Quixote. Question 76. Who is Lawrence Sterne? Lawrence Sterne is one of the novelists of the 18th century. His two important novels are The Life and Opinions of Tristram Shandy and A Sentimental Journey Through France and Italy. Question 77. What is Tristram Shandy? Answer: Tristram Shandy is a novel written by Lawrence Sterne. It is a monumental achievement in the 18th century English novels. It was published in 1767. Question 78. What is A Sentimental Journey Through France and Italy? Answer: A Sentimental Journey Through France and Italy is a novel written by Lawrence Sterne. It was published in 1768. It is quite a new type of fiction. His comic sense and sentimentality are equally present here. Question 79. Give the names of a tragedy by Addison and comedy by Steele. Answer: Addison wrote a tragedy in blank verse named Cato, published in 1713. Steele wrote sentimental comedies, among which The Conscious Lovers is the most important. Question 80. Who wrote The Beggar's Opera? The Beggar's Opera was written by John Gray. It was the most popular ballad opera. It was published in 1728. Question 81. What do you mean by a picaresque novel? Answer: The word picaresque comes from the Spanish word picaro, which means a cunning trickster or rogue. A picaresque novel means a novel which describes the adventures of a rogue in the course of a journey on which he goes. A picaresque novel may be described as a romance of roguery. Question 82. Why is Fielding called the father of English novel? Answer: Fielding is called the father of English novel because his works, as the first time, reveal all those qualities and characteristics which are generally associated with the art of the novel. Question 83. What is comic epic in prose? Answer: According to Henry Fielding, comic romance is different from a comedy, as an epic different from a tragedy. He refers to his comic romance as a comic epic poem in prose. Question 84. Name a picaresque novel in which a woman is the central character. Who is Picaro? Answer: Moll Fenders by Daniel Defoe is a picaresque novel in which a woman is the central character. Picaro means role. Question 85. Who is James Boswell? Answer: James Boswell is the biographer of Dr. Samuel Johnson. Boswell started his literary career by writing verses, but his literary triumph came from his great biographical work on Johnson, The Life of Samuel Johnson. It was published in 1791. Question 86. What is The Life of Samuel Johnson? Answer: The Life of Samuel Johnson is the biographical work on Johnson written by James Boswell and published in 1791. It remains a masterpiece in the literary works of the 18th century and of the English biographical literature of all times. Question 87. Who is Edmund Burke? Answer: Edmund Burke, principally known as a parliamentarian and orator, but he lives today as one of the masters of English prose. His best known works are speeches on conciliation with America, American taxation, the impeachment of Warren Hastings, etc. Question 88. What is speeches on conciliation with America? Answer. Edmund Burke's most important discussions of American affairs are the speeches on conciliation with America and his speeches on American taxation. These speeches were delivered in the Parliament. Question 89. Who is Oliver Goldsmith? Answer. Oliver Goldsmith, as an Irishman by birth, remains a remarkable figure in the history of English literature during the 18th century. He was at a time poet, novelist, and dramatist. Question 90. What is the name of the first published book of Goldsmith? The first published book of Goldsmith was The Memoirs of a Protestant Condemned to the Galleys, 1758. Question 91. What is the title of the collection of letters composed by Goldsmith? Answer. Oliver Goldsmith wrote some letters in the guise of a Chinese man. These letters were collected and published afterwards under the title The Citizen of the World. Question 92. What is the Citizen of the World? Answer. The Citizen of the World is a collection of letters composed by Goldsmith. It deserves a high commendation. His easy and natural style and his simple wisdom, good humor, and humanitarian outlook are found combined here. It gives him a high place in the history of English prose literature. Question 93. What is the Vicar of Wakefield? Answer. The Vicar of Wakefield is the only novel written by Oliver Goldsmith. It is a sort of autobiographical novel in which Goldsmith gives out much of his own family. Question 94. What are the titles of Goldsmith's poems? Answer. Goldsmith's two successive poems are The Traveller and The Deserted Village, published in 1764 and 1770 respectively. Question 95. What is The Traveller? Answer. The Traveller is the first important poem of Oliver Goldsmith. It is full of lively description and simple and sonorous versifications. Question 96. What is The Deserted Village? Answer. The Deserted Village is the first work in verse by Goldsmith. The essential of Goldsmith as a poet is found in this poem. Question 97. Who is the innovator of anti-sentimental comedy? Answer. Oliver Goldsmith along with R.B. Sheridan were the innovators of a new form of comedy, the anti-sentimental comedy. Question 98. What are the comedies written by Goldsmith? Answer. The Good-Natured Man and She Stoops to Conquer, or The Mistakes of a Night are two comedies written by Oliver Goldsmith. Question 99. Who was Sheridan? Answer. R.B. Sheridan, along with Goldsmith, occupies a significant position as the innovator of the anti-sentimental comedy. He was originally a politician and a Whig parliamentarian, but he remains alive not as a politician but as a dramatist. Question 100. What are the plays written by R.B. Sheridan? Answer. Sheridan's great plays are The Rivals, The School for Scandal, and The Critic. His plays mark his effective dramatic artistry. Question 101. What is The Good-Natured Man? Answer. The Good-Natured Man is a comedy written by Goldsmith during the 18th century. It is an anti-sentimental comedy. Question 102. What is the She Stoops to Conquer? Answer. She Stoops to Conquer is a comedy written by Oliver Goldsmith during the 18th century. It is one of the excellent comedies and proves to carry on the tradition of the comedy of manners of the Restoration and to anticipate the Shavian comedy of wit, humor, and satire. Thank you.